Hi everyone, I'm Kristen Parker of Parker and Bow. It's just me and my bow. And I'm a pretty new archer, so I wanted to get on here and say hi. I've taken up a new hobby. I love it. I've had an interest in this since I was a little girl. And so anyway, I'm excited that I now have the time to take up such a great hobby. And so anyway, I wanted to show y'all a little bit about my very first week. I have a 30 days, my first 30 days video series going on. And so my very first week in this video, kind of show you the type of bow that I got, and what my very first days of shooting it were. And then I have the week 2 and 3 videos that will also go over what I have done, what I have figured out, some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way, and real exciting things like that, and show you my progress that I've made over the last 30 days. So anyway, I ended up buying a traditional recurve bow, and it is an OMP bow. It's an Adventure 2.0, super simple, great beginner bow. I like it. It challenges me more than enough right now. And so I wanted to start off with something that was not super easy, but something that I could definitely grow into and then progress from there. I know form is 100% of everything in archery, and so it's a great bow that helps me do that, build up my strength, focus on form and things like that, and I still enjoy it. Not many frustrating moments yet, but mostly it's just kind of the learning curve of getting into archery. There's just so much information from a lot of great people and a lot of great instructors out there too, so it gets a little overwhelming, but it's still really fun. So before we go on, I will say that my OMP Adventure 2.0 is a 25-pound bow. Most of my shooting has been at the 10-yard line. There are some times where I have hit the 20-yard line, and it's usually either I'm testing it out or my instructor was giving me an assessment when I took a private coaching lesson, or if it was in the group class that I took at the end of the first week as well. You know, but other than that, it really hasn't been more than the 10-yard line. So, which is a great distance for me. I have really long arrows. So the 5-yard line will be great for working on my release. And so I think right now the 10-yard line is kind of where I'm at, and I want to tackle before I get into the longer distances. So anything you see, it's going to mostly be the 10-yard line, and I've referenced that too. So anyway, let's continue. So this is my first day, May 3rd. It was the day that I bought my bow. That's a look at the OMP Adventure 2.0. It's a traditional recurve. And then these are the arrows that I also picked up. They're Heritage carbon arrows. And this is the bag that I got. It is a, I have a recurve case for it, but this is also a compound case so I can keep everything in. And then this is the way my arm looked after the first day of shooting. This was caused from string slap. And then this is the first day that I went to the range by myself after I purchased the bow. And there's my first target. So I've got a little bit of a spread. I am a little high and to the left starting off. And I got attacked by the string again. This time it got caught between my leather arm guard and my arm. Then went to another indoor range on May 9th. Went with a friend of mine. So it was great. I shot at about 15 yards, 10 yards there. And this is a video of me shooting. Very first video of me. I'm very unstable. I only have basic familiarization with form and the bow. Since I first bought it, I was given a great brief rundown by the local archery shop and range about how to work the bow safely and everything, and what I should look out for, and how to rotate that elbow so that I'm not getting hit by the string so much. So I was really kind of working on that. A lot of this is just familiarization. How do I work? How does the bow work? And how do we work together? So I have a lot of good points here, but there were some struggles like that where the arrow came off the rest of the bow. It was because I pulled the string at too much of an angle, and it caused the bow to come off the rest of the shelf. I was also trying to overcome a finger injury that was not related to archery, so that's why I was shaking my hand. That's also part of my problem with drawing the bow back to its full potential in this video. There's a lot of twisting of the body. There's a lot of vibrations and handshake going on with the bow. I don't have much control over it. I wouldn't say that I'm afraid of it, but it was kind of one of those things that I didn't know it yet, so I didn't fully trust it, and I wasn't fully comfortable and confident with the bow yet. This is the same video, but in slow motion. You'll see a lot of the errors that I was doing at a slower rate. A lot of instability. My release is not good. I'm gripping the bow too much. I have a lot of body twisting going on. My stance needs improvement too. So there's some overextending and underextending with the posture. But overall, I was pretty pleased with my shots for being so new and unfamiliar with this, other than my limited exposure when I was little. I changed over to a different arm guard. It's more of a sleeve type, and that helped prevent the bowstring from getting caught between the arm guard and my arm. I am wearing a archer glove. Many people like to use the finger tab. I did try the finger tab at this stage at the range, but I was not comfortable with it. So I went back to using my glove. Archery definitely has its learning curve. It is perfectly acceptable to become frustrated, become overwhelmed and all. There are many, many, many pieces to the archery puzzle, so to speak. Don't fret, you will learn them, and that's one reason why I wanted to put this all together, is to show you the learning process and show you what I go through and what I'm doing and all. And because there's a lot of information out there and it's really good, but they don't show you necessarily the beginning process of it or the whole process of it. And rightfully so, a lot of it's very, informal, and they just want to get to the brief information and all, and that's fine. And I'll be doing some videos like that too. But I wanted to show what the very beginning process looks like so that you don't feel like you're the only one going through it. Sometimes whenever I'm told information, I don't realize what I'm doing. Even when somebody points it out, I can go, okay, I know what you're saying, but I don't really understand it until I start learning and performing the right way. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Or I learn the terminology, or I learn what, is the proper way versus what is being pointed out to me. Then I start understanding, then it starts making sense, and then I start applying it, and then I start seeing the results, and that's when everything comes together. But it takes some time. You don't become the best archer overnight. So you don't go to the store and buy the bow and then start competing at your best game within a week. It doesn't work that way. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of learning, and a lot of repetition, and a lot of failures too. So never fear and never fret. It's okay. It's just part of learning. And as you go, you start learning more and more, even about yourself. So the bow is a part of you. So the bow will not work without you. So the two of you have to know each other and learn each other in order to work with each other. The next thing you know, it becomes a subconscious thought, and you're very proficient at it and very accurate. So always practice, practice, practice. And if you have any questions, reach out to those that you know and trust. And I highly encourage everybody, especially in the very beginning, to take a group class, take a private lesson or so. I did. I took one group beginner class and one one-on-one private coaching session for about an hour. And the two classes together was on the same weekend and was less than $100 in my area. So it was a very good deal and very worth it. See there, I don't have my elbow right behind that arrow. You'll hear a lot about your drawing elbow or drawing arm needs to be behind the arrow line. And it's a little misleading to me because everything from your toes to your nose needs to point to that target. So everything must be in line and aimed at that target. And so saying to keep your elbow behind the arrow line, it's, to me, depending on how you look at it and think about it, it's a little misleading. So it's like you think that you need to get your elbow towards the inner part of your, like inside the arrow, between the arrow and you, because usually people will say that because your elbow's sticking out like a chicken wing when you're drawing back. And of course that really puts a bind on your wrist, and you just don't get the leverage and the back tension that you need to have to successfully draw the bow in a proper and accurate way. So the way I look at it is your elbow, your drawing elbow, needs to be right behind the arrow and in line with the arrow. not behind the arrow line. It needs to be right behind it and in line with that arrow, so that it too is putting you in the position to get your forearm and your upper arm to be pointing in the direction of that target like everything else. So if you hear behind the arrow line, just think behind the arrow. Your elbow joint needs to be right behind that arrow. Because if you are overextended, which means coming back, like on the other side of the arrow where your elbow is in between the arrow and your body, you're overextending your posture. And if you're underextending, that's when they start telling you, get your elbow behind the arrow line. And that's because you got your elbow sticking out and your wrist is all in a bind and pushed inward towards you. And you look like you got chicken wing going on. So that is my target. The next day, I went back to the range that I bought the bow at. And then this is my arm. So with a little bit of work and all, you'll get to where you want to be. So now we've made it to the end of week 1. I hope that this video has helped you out a little bit, especially for those of you that are getting into archery for the first time, especially with the traditional recurve archery. There's a lot of great information on the internet. I just know that's kind of hard from my own experiences to kind of siphon through all the Olympic and tournament stuff out there, that and some of the hunting things that I wanted to bring to you in one nice little place, everything that has to do with the traditional recurve bow and its style of shooting. So anyway, I hope this video has helped you out a lot. I look forward to connecting with all of you as we progress on. Let me know what your great things are so far, your accomplishments, some things that are kind of giving you difficulty, and then just any experience you have with starting out with the traditional recurve archery. I look forward to conversing with all of you in the comments section, so feel free, drop those comments down below, and I will try to respond to them as they come in. And anyway, thank you so much, and check out my week 2 and 3 videos too. I'll talk to you later. See you out on the range.